Big hubbub about the God particle and the Higgs field. When he submitted his paperwork, it had infinity in it. It was part of an infinite field, essentially fabric of the universe, and that's where you would find these particles. And they made him cut out the infinite field part before they do the test, before they approved his experiment. But the Higgs boson particle, the God particle, is the particle that determines the mass of the other particles, which is essentially a particle that makes mass matter, because it gives matter, it's matter when it's mass, and that's the particle that gives the other particles mass. And if that's love, then the universe is made from infinite love, the fabric of the universe level.
Okay, now I can vibe with that.
So that's the foundation of my reality, and then the conspiracy stuff is all built from that substructure.
So what's...
It's like, oh man, you gotta go play Hitler? I don't play Hitler. Incarnation, bro. Just suck it up and be Hitler, whatever. That's what you gotta play. That's your role for this incarnation, bro. Just suck it up and be Hitler, whatever. I mean, we get attached to being this collection of the way things, of the way this meet.
The lived experience of a community, whatever you want to call this, right? If a catechism isn't a sort of a natural natural outgrowth of worship and culture, then it's like it's alien.
I think she's a little puzzled so far. She's indulging me. Although some of the money I give, I don't know. She saw Grizz's channel and saw that I was giving him a little money here and there. That Pat might get turned off. Have a secret channel. Because he says some stuff.
He says some stuff. Welcome. This is the Off-Brand Messiah stream. Once again, the Peterson brand Lord's Prayer. It's primarily going to be an episode of adjunct professing over one Pastor Paul's previous sermon released to us all.
So say we all. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Ho, ho, ho.
And if you wanted to blame someone for this happening again, it would be this one Marcus O'Conghail-Murthium and George Harrell, who have reshared Pastor Paul's Fancy Pants Jordan Peterson and Russell Brand pray the Lord's Prayer in Washington, D.C. What does that mean? That brings us to today's adjunct professing and such. Good thing though, you get what we call a savings throw against the mind control we employ on you, and also that you swim in like the water around you. In order to receive the savings throw against mind control, you must make a choice to gain participatory knowledge, and that choice is betwixt survival, social, wisdom, or heart. You choose. I roll. If it's over 10, you take half damage from the mind control that follows and the rest of your day. And if it's under 10, you take full damage. But at least you got a savings throw today. That's an improvement. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Survival is coming in mediocrely with a 9, a number 9. Socialist, this one's going to get to you. It's a 4 without bonuses, a unbonused 4. Lovers of wisdom, that's what we call a 10. You've made it half damage for the wisdom, folks. Heart, folks, though, you're going to need a replay comment bonus of 5 to make 10, because you got a 5. And Indigo Kid's coming in with Prime 19. Prime 19 for you, kids. You'll be all right.
Slime! What? It's a river of slime!
LARP! We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard.
Riff harder. Riff harder. Riff harder.
LARP! We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard.
Riff harder.
That was a McMo one, I think. I believe that was a McMo masterpiece. I think that was his stylistic impression, signature thereof. Okay. And as today's episode is a adjunct professing of the Blue Church Pastor Paul Vanderklay, it seemed appropriate if we start off with the Blue Church card of the show. As you may or may not know, there's cards, we show them, we don't know what they mean. Some people attribute saints and the presence thereof to the card, such as this 10 of clubs for the Blue Church card of the show. That's how that's going to go. Let's jump right in. Right here at the beginning.
Hi, this is Paul. I made a video on the Join the Resistance, Rescue the Republic thing. I listened to Matt Taibbi's talk. It's really the only talk I listened to.
Hi, this is Paul. I made a video. What was that last bit?
Hi, this is Paul. I made a video on the Join the Resistance, Rescue the Republic thing. I listened to Matt Taibbi's talk. It's really the only talk I listen to. A lot of people highlighted for me Matt Taibbi's.
Now, what was the American personality? Madison said he hoped to strengthen the will of the community, but other revolutionaries weren't quite so polite. Thomas Paine's central message was that compared to even the humblest farmer was a towering moral giant compared to the invertebrate scum who wore crowns and lived in British castles. Common sense told us to stand up straight, never bow, especially not to a politician, because as Payne explained, and I want you all to think of John Kerry and Michael Hayden and Dick Cheney here, men who look upon themselves as born to reign and others to obey are frequently the most ignorant and unfit of any throughout the dominions.
Throughout the dominions. This point really spoke to me about what I wrote on the card here as dialectical moment value deflation, or the devaluing civilization. It's this one time a guy named Madison wrote back and forth letters with this other guy named Jefferson, and the thing of it is that's not much different than these back and forth conversations we have on the line, except that they're in the flow of time, later in the flow of time, and as such, the power you can pack into a sentence has been devalued by the inflation of the number of sentences. You missed it all, Tayo, especially the savings throws. But we'll get back to it.
On the Join the Resistance, Rescue the Republic thing, I listened to Matt Taibbi's talk. It's really the only talk I listen to. A lot of people highlighted for me Matt Taibbi's talk. Some people sent me this video, which seems to be, for at least a lot of people around, sort of the most interesting moment in the event, which was not really about a speech anyone gave in terms of making up something new, but rather this moment of the Lord's Prayer at the event, which is super interesting. Now, again, if you haven't...
What? Oh, yeah, that's what you're doing.
Event, which is super interesting. Now, again, if you haven't watch the Cognitive Science of Ritual with John Vervaeke and Jonathan Peugeot, that's super helpful.
A proper part of being rational is the imperative to be more rational. Mm-hmm. So rationality is an inherently aspirational entity, which means at the heart of rationality is aspiration and transformative experience, which requires ritual, because ritual is imaginal, serious play.
It's just funny because just with that, you completely undermine the entire project of rationalism. That's true. I'd never thought about it, that because you want to be reasonable,
Yes.
reason becomes aspirational, and therefore has to be, you have to kind of imagine and project yourself into that space before you enter into it, because why would you desire it if you couldn't imagine yourself in a future state where you have to move towards that future state through imagination?
I think the truth that we can hold is like, that's methodical truth. That's the truth that can be generated from a method. I think the truth that you're pointing to, the truth that seeks unity and seeks to be one with and participate in, which you're, I think, rightly talking about as love. And of course, relevance realization always involves caring. And I won't repeat that argument. I think that's all correct. But like, for example, all of those sort of dimensions, interpretation, inspiration, intuition, insight, right? Each one of those has in it exactly what you said. It has love, there's a leap in it. And there's a love of something that is not, so there's almost something like a bit of a Pauline notion of faith. There's a love of something that is not yet fully disclosed, right? Each one of those. And see, and that's that's the daemonic, that's the metaxu, that's the in-betweenness, right? And it's weird because like Hermes or Thoth or Hanuman or Michael, that's the locus of, they're in that weird place where there's an other that's me in self-transcendence. And it's a way in which I'm loving a self I'm not yet, but it's not egocentric, because I'm loving a self that is in more conformity to what is real. So I'm also loving through that future self what is more real, right?
And more you.
Well, that's the thing. It's simultaneously other than I am now. So it's all about L.A. Paul's the problem, the paradox of transformative experience, or Galen's, if it's other than the self, it can't be self-transcendence, and if it's real and if it's from the self, it's just growth. It's not transcendence. And no, that's the thing. It's dialogical, right? There's an other that is me, right? That takes me to be an other that I am now, that turns out to be more me, but is more me because it's that person is participating more in reality.
And the other me, participating more in reality, has an offering for you of what we call the Canadian deck, card of the show in tribute to not only Jordan Peterson, but also that one Jean Vervaeke we've just played so much of. And the Canadian deck card for the show is the three of hearts. And now, while I shuffle the casino deck card of the show, we'll get back to the adjunct professing here on this off-brand Messiah, Peterson brand Lord Prayer stream. And we're doing adjunct professing on Past the Pauls. Jordan Peterson and Russell Brand pray the Lord's Prayer in Washington, D.C. What does that mean? Here's this part.
Right, and I think partly what that does, we did that a bit at this ARC,
Political rallies almost always have music.
Alliance for Responsible Citizenship meeting in London. I was very insistent on the musical and artistic element, and I think it's because the propositional has to be surrounded by the imagistic and aesthetic. That's more like the domain of dream, right? It's like the way that I look at cognitive architecture is that there's a propositional landscape which we've actually modeled.
Is anybody got a dime?
That's more like the domain of dream, right? It's like the way that I look at cognitive architecture is that there's a propositional landscape, which we've actually modeled pretty well now, I would say, with large language models. But outside of that, there's an imagistic, aesthetic, and dreamlike landscape. That's the landscape of the imagination. And outside of that is the embodied procedural realm, right? And a full event covers all three.
Oh, no, I think you have it wrong. With outside of that is the embodied realm. I think it's like even more interiorly. But the point I wanted to make is this cognitive. We have the propositional tyranny within the intentionality network, and I wanted to, since Wokel brought us the intentionality network in the background as well as Beauregard strawberries, I wanted to make the connection between our cognitive framework and the intentionality network and the background. As Papa Peterson was saying there, we have the propositional pretty much mapped by the language models, which basically manifests what we know as the intentionality network. And outside of that, we have the imaginal realm, because what happens is we have the known knowns, and then the known unknowns, and then the known unknowns, and then we have to imagine this, and we can't even imagine this. And that's how we orient ourselves is based on whether our imaginative landscape view of the background is this is hell or this could be heaven. Casino deck card for the show is the 9 of spades. The 9 of spades. Welcome, everybody.
Is everything all right in here?
Yes, Nanny.
We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see doing what is right for me. Just lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
Or you fall away and you can't make any judgments at all.
Right. It's basically recognizing the frame problem, that you always need a frame through which to evaluate any other thing. And so what's super interesting when people look at Peterson and Russell Brand praying the Lord's Prayer, everyone sort of defaults to money. They're doing this because it's a grift. They're getting money out of it. And it's like, trust me, that's probably not money. Jordan has made his money off of his book.
And here is where Pastor Paul makes what I call the not harmoning enough hermeneutics of suspicion. You see, what happened is he took the standard application of the hermeneutics of suspicion, which is they're doing it for money, and easily rejects it as such.
Money out of it. It's like, trust me, that's probably not money. Jordan has made his money off of his books and I'm sure his tours. That's where he's made the most money. Russell Brand, as I don't know what this guy's name is, the Liberty Lockdown guy, he said, Russell Brand as a political commentator is really ascending. And so it doesn't seem.
As a political commentator, he's ascending. So it's not about the money. Then what is it about? And as we know from David Icke, it's about becoming the new Christian, right? Because one of the things Peterson did back in the Frog Hat days was harness the 18 to 25 demographic into the system and participation, and out of perhaps taking up arms. And that's similarly what the function of the new mainstream alt media, the Joe Rogan podcastosphere, which is being given credibility as the traditional media sabotages itself and its own credibility. Hi, I'm Grim Grizz. I hope you're feeling virtually not alone. We all exist right now, even if you're watching the replay. Well, some of us might not exist. This is Off-Brand Messiah stream, Peterson Brand Lord's Prayer. And now on to the costly signaling part. Oh, no, wait. We're doing the proper instantiation of the hermeneutics of suspicion, which is more than one. See, you need about four different hermeneutics of suspicion to do it right, as they taught us way back when with this?
Troubled?
That woman's not wearing underwear.
Is that all you can think about? Food and sex?
Yes. Please, focus. Look out! Hey, it's Jay. No time for small talk. We're late. Hetty, hold the elevator. Hetty.
I think Louise is so sweet.
I think this woman is wearing underwear. I think there's too many people in this elevator. And I think you are all idiots. Let's go to work.
As we know from the internal family systems of Herman's Head, you should have at least 4 or 5 Hermans attending to your suspicions.
It's a whisper in your ear, now listen here. Remember, embody, it's all so clear. No hidden strings, no puppeteer. We're by your side, have no fear. I cherish truth. I cherish truth. Remember, embody, there is no agency. We want what's best for you.
No one is more beloved than a useful defector. And the hermeneutics of suspicion we should all have known what Diddy said is about the Benjamins. It wasn't all about the Benjamins, but power. Power. Who has the power to print Benjamins? Hey, it's Matthew Parlato. How you doing? We're doing an adjunct professing over Pastor Paul's. Jordan Peterson and the Russell Band pray the Lord's Prayer in Washington, D.C. What does that mean? And we're at the part where he talks about how it's costly signaling in Aaron Rand's negative world, where Christianity is viewed as a what do you call it, pariah thing for the rationalists, and the costly signaling it does for them to make a prayer.
Right. But and I get it. Some of it is people just playing along because they want a quick ride. There's always a free rider problem. But the radicalization by the true believers, if I can call them that, is part again of a function of ritual, which is costly signaling, which is you can really, really trust me. And the thing is, the costly signaling it needs to be bound to deeper real transformations and educations, or else you're really sort of draining people. And so this form that's one argument. This form of ritualization it has a real possibility of burning out, like burnout. The other is it's propositional tyranny. It's all at the propositional level. There's procedural, but they don't recognize the procedural and the perspectival and the participatory. So it's still all caught up in the level of beliefs and ideology, and that's ultimately not reaching the meaning machine.
And then Paul will go on to try to defend Russell Brand's hope of actual Christianity, and it makes me want to bring up some things that like maybe you should see. And since you didn't watch any of it except for the Lord's Prayer and Matt Taibbi, you may have missed this bit here.
Service, recognition of my own failings, of my own imperfections, of my own sin. Any of you that saw the recent photograph of me in my underpants will know that I am capable of erring even while baptizing. I did some baptisms. I've not been a Christian very long, but I'm getting right out there and doing the baptisms. The apostles were doing it on day one, is what I heard.
You immediately equate yourself to an apostle. First of all, what you're doing this publicly, you're doing that publicly, but what you're not doing publicly is the confessions, like the part about when you confessed about being Katy Perry's handler and such, because you're a Fabian Wolf in sheep clothing. As you can tell, if you've ever seen his Messiah Complex show.
I'm not even bothering me. But I won't interfere with you unless you talk to me, so don't be scared, all right? I'm like a vampire. I can only come in if you invite me. Right, let's have a look at this.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
The list?
Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room? I want to cast Magic Missile.
The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile. Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here. I'm attacking the darkness.
And Kurt the Kurt with the last ones in. All right, what are we at? We at let's agency that card for the show. Hi, Buddy the cat. Hey, put your head up. Look so they can see you. He's there. Buddy the cat is making a special appearance today. Welcome, everybody. This is Peterson Brand Lord's Prayer stream. I don't know that I'm actually going to play any of the actual them doing the ritual. But the agency deck card of the show is the 10 of hearts. And that's nice. What else do you have queued up there, Grim? Oh, this maybe? No, this.
I were to sort of slow them down and say, now, tell me exactly what you are imagining. How does this work in your imagination? What are these demons? What do you know of them? Because, Lewis himself said, with respect to the devils, as he called them, you can either make too much or make too little. But the fact that we've got two of these guys praying the Lord's Prayer on a stage in Washington, D.C., yes, what is going on?
Now, that might not have been the right part. He was supposed to mention, is this Frank Peretti's world in which I play this?
The canopy of darkness followed him like a cast shadow, like a tiny circle of night upon the landscape. A faint streak of red and yellow vapor trailed from his nostrils and hung in the air behind him like a long, slowly settling ribbon. Below, the ranch looked like a huge hive of hideous black insects. Several layers of ruthless warriors hovered almost stationary in a vast dome of defense over the complex, swords drawn, yellow eyes peering across the valley. Deep within this shell, demons of all shapes, sizes, and strengths darted about in a boiling mass of activity. As Rayfar dropped closer, he noted a concentration of black spirits around a large, multi-storied stone house on the fringe of the cluster. The strong man is there, he thought. So he banked gently to one side, changing his course for that building.
Because he was an angel flying with wings. What a great book that was. Oh, of note, Elon Musk has changed his Devil's Champion profile picture to the Dark MAGA Elon Musk version. Note that's for where you are in the timeline, fellow time travelers.
Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all.
Remember, there is no agency. We want what's best.
And we finish up our adjunct professing on Jordan Peterson, Russell Brand, Pray the Lord's Prayer at this part.
Grim Grizz, responding to the video that I made today, dropped one of his little truth moments. Television is a normalizing ray. And when he said that, I thought, oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, you bothered to share the clip of it on Twitter. Why not with the people in this video? Here we go. The power of set is a normalization normalization ray. It makes things normal. The power of set is a normalization ray. Seems kind of quiet, but I say it's a normalization ray that makes things normal. And there, we've made it. We've made it through all the things I wanted to say to you today.
What makes you assume that I'm not about to feed you all to the crocodile? What makes you assume that I'm not about to feed you all to the crocodile? What makes you assume that I'm not about to feed you all to the crocodile?
That's very exciting. Hello. I see the assassins have failed.
The only thing I haven't managed to do in this show is to explain this thumbnail, which the AI generated for us when I say enlightenment chooses you. You don't choose. You're not reborn unless you're born. There can't be a you to be reborn. It's the Agent Smith inversion, but it's God's power, not. Anyway, thanks somebody for being with us here today. That was what it was.
Did you get that on video? No. I'm not going to. No, that's I'll show you later. Look, the gator, obviously. Hey, yo!